Welcome to Lost Relation Chronicles. I'm not the kind of guy who snoops, never have been. I've always believed that trust is the cornerstone of any relationship. That's what I told myself when Isabella and I first moved in, spending and use a shared credit card for stuff we did together, groceries, dinner, out, household stuff, clean, simple. But Tuesday night didn't sit right. With me, it started as just a routine thing. I was doing my monthly expense recon. I'm in software development for a logistics company, and habits die hard. I like knowing where every dollar goes, just like I like writing clean code and having predictable systems. Isabella's in marketing, works for a cosmetics brand. She's creative, spontaneous, not the type to care about balancing accounts or spreadsheets. That was always more my thing. Scrolling through the statements, my eyes landed on something that didn't make sense. $149 at Mario's, the kind of upscale steakhouse you reserve for anniversaries or big promotions. Tuesday night. I frowned. Clicked into the transaction thinking maybe it was fraud. We've been meaning to set up two-factor authentication on that card. The receipt pulled up with all the details. 2 entree, 2 cocktails, a bottle of Cabernet chocolate lava. Cake for dessert. The timestamp dinner started at 8:14 p.m. Amended at 11:03 p.m. That's not a business dinner, that's a date. I stared at the screen, my stomach doing that weird hollow thing like a missed step on a staircase. I pulled out my phone and scrolled back to Tuesday's messages. I'd been in Chicago for a 3-day work trip, back-to-back client meetings and networking events. I remember texting her from my hotel room right before bed. Me 9:15 p.m. Hey babe, just wrapped up the last meeting. Going to crash soon. How was your day? She responded. A few minutes later, Isabella 9:30 p.m. Exhausted. Heading to bed early tonight, long day of meetings. She sent a selfie too. Her in those lavender pajamas. I'd bought her last Christmas, the soft flannel ones with little stars on them. She was propped against our headboard blanket, pulled up, sleepy smile on her face. The bedside lamp cast a warm glow on the background, just enough to make the photo feel cozy. I remember smiling, then texting back, me 9:33 p.m. Get some rest. Beautiful. I miss you. But now I looked at that message again and I felt cold. She said she was in bed at 9:30. The receipt said dinner ended at 11:03. I just sat there for a moment, blinking at my screen. My thumb hovered over the selfie she sent. I zoomed in. The little details I hadn't noticed before started popping out. The angle was slightly off, like it wasn't her usual relaxed selfie. Her makeup looked fresh, a little too polished for someone supposedly winding down. And then, I saw it, just barely a reflection in the corner of the frame. A mirror glass, I couldn't tell, but something in me snapped into high alert. That's when things clicked. The work trips that always seemed to line up with mine. The lingerie I found receipts for but never saw in person. The new phone password supposedly because of updated work security protocols. I'm not the confrontational type. I don't like drama. Never have. So I didn't come at her guns blazing. I started watching instead, logging mental notes like some background process running quietly behind the scenes. She'd always take her phone to the bathroom now, even when she was just brushing her teeth. If I brought up certain co-workers, especially friends like Tasha or Henry, she'd stiffen, give a non-committal, oh yeah, haven't talked to them in a bit. Her calendar used to be a Google Doc we both shared for scheduling. Now all in my head, she'd laugh, brushing off my questions with a kiss on the cheek and a distracted smile. Then came the night everything shifted. She was in the shower, humming to some Spotify playlist I didn't recognize. Her phone for once wasn't in the bathroom with her. It was on the coffee table screen, glowing. A notification slid down from the top. Jackson W. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Hotel is booked. Same room. Yes, that was it. Just a preview. I didn't open it. Didn't need to. I checked our credit card records again. Fingers almost moving on their own. Small, consistent charges at the Wyndham Grand downtown room service parking. Always on days when I was out of town. There it was. The most recent one. A reservation confirmation sent to our shared family email account marked as Read Archived. She never mentioned it. I never would have seen it if I hadn't been hunting. That night, I sat beside her on the couch. She was scrolling through Instagram, probably looking at makeup influencers or dog videos. She had a throw blanket over her lap, wine glass half full on the side table, the picture of calm. I cleared my throat, felt my heartbeat in my ears. "Who's Jackson?" I asked. Quiet, steady, almost too calm. She froze for half a second. "You wouldn't notice unless you were really looking, but I was." Her thumb stopped mid-scroll, then she turned toward me, blinking slowly. "Jackson from my office," she said, voice light. Casual. Why I didn't answer right away. Just looked at her, watched how her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "Is that the Jackson? You're meeting at the Grand Hotel tomorrow?" I asked, still quiet. Still no edge in my voice. Her eyes flicked to her phone, then back to me. That's when it happened. Her face didn't settle on one emotion. It morphed through a dozen shock panic. Something like calculation, then irritation, anger, almost a fight-or-flight reaction crackling just beneath the surface. And then something I wasn't expecting. She smiled, not nervously, not guilty like I was a child who had just misread a homework assignment. "Wait, are you upset about that?" she asked, voice calm in a way that made my skin crawl. I stared at her, trying to process about. "You having an affair?" "Yes." "Elijah. She actually laughed and set her phone down on the coffee table. "It's not an affair. We talked about this." I blinked. "What, remember that weekend in Chicago last year?" She said, like she was reminding me we had already done our taxes. We agreed to try being in an open marriage. You said you were fine with it as long as we were discreet. I stood there in stunned silence. "What the hell are you talking about? We never agreed to that." "Never," her tone shifted, patronizing. "Now, yes, we did. We had that whole conversation after that fight in the hotel room. You said you felt like our sex life needed more variety. I suggested maybe seeing other people, and you agreed. You even said you might want to try it, too." I felt a chill crawl up my spine. It was like stepping into someone else's memory, except it wasn't mine. This conversation never happened. I said I would remember that. I paused, because my heart was thudding so loudly. I could barely hear myself. Was I losing? No, this wasn't confusion. This was gaslighting, plain and simple. "Elijah," she said with an almost maternal disappointment. "I can't believe you're doing this. Are you really going to pretend we didn't discuss this? Is it just because you haven't found anyone yet?" "What? Because I've been completely honest with you," she said, like she was giving a TED talk. "Jackson knows about you. This was our agreement." I stood up too fast, and the room tilted slightly. My hands were shaking. I wasn't even sure if it was from anger or disbelief or both. "Isabella," I said slowly, "we've been together for 8 years, married for 6. We've never discussed opening our marriage. Not once. Not as a joke. Not even after watching that polyamory documentary. You fell asleep during." She narrowed her eyes, but I saw something flicker. Maybe doubt, maybe guilt, maybe just annoyance that her story wasn't landing. "I think I need to leave," I muttered. My voice sounded strange, too calm for how loud the alarm bells were ringing inside. "My head. I need to clear my head." "Oh my God," she scoffed. "You're being so dramatic. It's not like I'm doing anything wrong. We agreed to this." "I'm staying at Mason's tonight," I said, grabbing my keys and wallet off the console table. "Don't call me fine. Run away," she called after me, voice rising. "But don't pretend this is some big betrayal when you literally gave me permission." I didn't respond, didn't slam the door, didn't yell. I just walked out. The air outside hit my face like a bucket of water. I got in the car, turned the ignition, and drove. I don't remember the journey. When I got to Mason's place, I was too angry to string a coherent sentence together. I slammed the door behind me and just stood there, fists clenched at my sides. Heart hammering like it wanted to escape. "Whoa," Mason said, eyes widening. "You okay?" I shook my head. My jaw was tight, I couldn't speak. He didn't press, just motioned to the couch. "Sit. I'll grab a beer." He handed me the bottle, sat down across from me and waited. I finally managed to say, "She said we agreed to an open marriage. What I told him, everything, Jackson, the hotel receipts, the credit card charges, the texts, her face when I asked her who he was." That sickening calmness, like I was the one who forgot something we both supposedly signed off on. When I was done, he just sat there shaking his head. "Dude, that's insane. She's trying to make you think you're crazy." "It's working," I admitted. My voice for a second there, I actually questioned myself. Like, did we have this conversation? Did I forget? "No way," Mason said, leaning forward. "We've been friends forever. You tell me everything. You never said a word about opening your marriage. Not even." Hypothetically, I know I whispered and took another long swig of beer, but she said it with so much confidence. She even had a date and location, Chicago last year. Hotel room drinks. That's textbook gaslighting, man. Scary level 2. I crashed on his couch that night, couldn't stomach the idea of sleeping in the bed she and I had shared. God knows with who else. My phone didn't stop buzzing all night long. "You're overreacting. We can talk about this when you're being reasonable." "You agreed, Elijah. This isn't betrayal. It's exploration. I love you. Please don't throw away everything we've built because you're having a delayed reaction." I silenced it, turned it face down, tried to sleep. Didn't really. The next morning, it wasn't just her. My phone blew up with messages from everyone. Friends, family, even people I hadn't talked to in months. My sister Jen called while I was still nursing the morning. Coffee Mason had shoved into my hand. "Hey," she said, concerned, "Elijah, what's going on? Isabella called me crying last night. Said you freaked out about your open marriage agreement." I blinked, stunned. "What? She said you two agreed to it months ago, but now that she's seeing someone, you're flipping out." "Are you okay, Jen?" I said, trying to stay calm. "We don't have an open marriage. We never agreed to that. She's been cheating. And now she's trying to convince me I gave her permission." "That's not what," she said. Jen replied hesitantly. "She told me it was your idea, that she was hesitant, but you pushed for it because you felt stuck. She said she didn't want to. At first I could feel my stomach turning. She told you I wanted this." "Yeah," Jen said. "She said you even joked about Tinder at brunch last summer." "I don't know, Elijah." She sounded really upset. "Of course she's upset. She got caught," I snapped. Over the next 24 hours, it became clear Isabella wasn't just lying. She was campaigning. She got it, everyone. Our friends, my family, even my parents called me. Their voices cautious and full of concern. "Son," my dad said, "your mom and I heard about some marital experimentation. Your aunt mentioned something from who she heard it from your cousin, who said Isabella told her it was a full-blown PR blitz. Her version, Elijah and I agreed to an open marriage. He was into it at first. Then I actually found someone, and now he's jealous and trying to rewrite history. He's gaslighting me. It's really sad. People started taking sides. Some messaged me privately saying things like, 'I hope you two can work through this. It's a tough transition, but not impossible. Just because it's harder for you doesn't mean she did anything wrong.' I felt like I was in some twisted alternate reality, where I was the villain in a story I didn't even know was being told. So I did the only thing I could. I started digging text, history, emails, photos, calendar invites, travel receipts, anything that might back up my version of reality. I zeroed in on that Chicago trip, our supposed open marriage origin story. Went through every photo, every restaurant receipt, the museum tickets we'd purchased, nothing helpful. By the third day at Mason's place, I was unraveling. Sleep was fractured. At best, I'd lost track of how many times I read and reread old texts with Isabella, hoping to find some shred of evidence, anything to prove she was rewriting our history. But every message just made me feel more unmed. I sat on Mason's balcony that morning, staring into my coffee like it might whisper answers when I got the notification. A Facebook message request from someone named Sophia Hudson. I frowned. The name meant nothing to me. Her message read, "I think you should know that your wife mistakenly thought you were cheating with me. A few months ago, I have screenshots of her messages that might interest you." I sat bolt upright. My hands were trembling as I typed back. "Can we talk?" We arranged to meet that afternoon at a little coffee shop downtown tucked between a bookstore and a tailor's shop I'd never noticed before. I arrived early, pacing outside, heartbeat pounding. She showed up right on time, early 30s, put together with a kind but cautious demeanor. Her professionalism was matched by a visible tension in her shoulders. "I'm Sophia," she said, extending a hand. "Elijah," I replied, though of course she already knew. We got our drinks and sat at a small corner table. She leaned forward slightly. "I work at Thorne Consulting. Your wife's company hired us for their rebrand last year. That's how we crossed paths." I nodded slowly. "Okay." She pulled out her phone, swiped for a few seconds, then turned the screen to show me. "You and I were in the same group photo at the launch party. This one." There we were, 20 people in the frame. Me on the far left, her near the right. I squinted. I vaguely remember that night. "We didn't talk, did we?" "No," she said. "Not even a hello. So why the hell was she messaging me about 4 months ago?" She continued. "I started getting these." She handed me her phone. My pulse spiked the moment I saw Isabella's name, the first message. "I know what you're doing with my husband." The flirty texts, the meetings that run late. "Do you think I'm stupid?" The pit in my stomach expanded as I scrolled. Sophia had responded, with pure confusion. "I'm sorry. Who is this? There must be some mistake." "I don't know your husband. I think you're confusing me with someone else." Isabella hadn't backed off. If anything, she doubled down, threatening to contact Sophia's boss and HR, warning her to watch herself and suggesting she come clean before this gets uglier. I shook my head, stunned. "Jesus Christ." Sophia pointed to the next message. Dated 2 days later. "I owe you an apology." I misread some text messages on Elijah's phone and jumped to conclusions. "This is embarrassing and unprofessional. Please forget this happened." I blinked at the words. My throat tightened. "Do you have any idea what prompted this?" She nodded. "From the date. I think it was the Johnson account we were coordinating over email, and someone suggested a quick coffee meeting to finalize a proposal. You replied, 'Sounds good, let's do it.' And she must have read the string without context. It was copied to 3 other people. You're saying she saw a group work email and leapt to this." I checked with the others after her messages. None of them got anything from her. Just me. I sat back, dizzy. "Why are you showing me this now?" Sophia looked hesitant. "I heard about your situation. Industry gossip spreads fast. Honestly, it didn't line up with the version I'd heard of you. It felt wrong to stay silent." I exhaled. "Thank you, seriously, can you forward me the screenshots?" "Of course." As we gathered our things, she paused at the door. "There's one more thing. Before the texts, there was a call." I turned. "A call." She phoned me screaming. "Accused me of sleeping with you." I recorded it because I was scared she'd try to get me fired. My heart jumped into my throat. "Do you want to hear it?" My heart raced. "Yes." Sophia pulled up the recording on her phone and hit play. I braced myself. Isabella's voice came through, instantly sharp and crackling with anger. "I know you're sleeping with my husband." The tone made my stomach knot. "How long has it been going on?" she demanded. "You realize you're destroying a marriage, right? Or did Elijah tell you we're having problems? Did he say, 'I'm difficult, that I don't understand him'?" Sophia's voice calm and steady. "I think you've made a mistake. I don't know your husband beyond work." Isabella cut her off, the venom clear. "Don't lie to me." Elijah's been distant, secretive, working late, always on his damn phone. He's clearly having an affair, and your name keeps coming up, just admit it. Sophia kept trying to de-escalate. Her voice measured, I'm not involved with your husband. We barely interacted. Check my phone records, my calendar. Anything. Then Isabella's voice cracked. All the rage melted into something raw and trembling. He can't do this to me. We're supposed to be committed to each other. He is exclusive to me, and damn, I've been faithful for 8 years, and this is how he repays me. I close my eyes. Her words hit like a sledgehammer. Exclusive, committed. 8 years. There it was. Clear as day. No open marriage, no arrangement. Just the truth, spoken by her 3 months ago. I looked at Sophia. Can you send me this? She nodded. Already did, along with the screenshots. Good luck, Elijah, I thanked her. We parted ways outside the cafe, and I walked directly to my lawyer's office, replaying that recording. In my head the whole way. He raised an eyebrow when I walked in unannounced. You look like you've seen a ghost. I've got something better, I said, sliding my phone across his desk. He plugged in his headphones, listened then again. By the time he looked up, he was smiling for the first time since I'd hired him. This, he said, tapping the phone. This directly contradicts her current story. She explicitly says you were supposed to be exclusive, expresses distress at the thought of you cheating. And this call is dated 3 months ago. He shook his head, almost impressed. That's while after this supposed Chicago agreement. She's been talking about she won't be able to spin this. With the screenshots and recording in hand, I filed for divorce the next morning, citing infidelity. The papers were served that afternoon. My phone rang almost immediately. Isabella, I stared at the screen. For a few seconds before answering, I was ready. Her voice came through like a storm. Really? Elijah, divorce, over a misunderstanding about our arrangement? I laughed. I couldn't help it. What arrangement? Isabella, I asked, my voice cold. The one you made, up after I caught you, or the one where we're supposed to be exclusive like you told Sophia Hudson 3 months ago? When you accused me of sleeping with her, there was a long pause, dead air. Then I added, slow and deliberate, yeah, I have the recording, and the screenshots of you apologizing to her afterward. I let that sink in. Weird how you were so upset about me, potentially cheating. If we had this magical open marriage you keep insisting existed. Her tone changed instantly. Sharp, I see. You're setting me up. Those must be doctored. That's not real. Tell that to the judge, I snapped, and to our friends and family, the ones you fed all those lies to. Then I hung up. I didn't wait. I sent the audio file and screenshots to my sister first, her. Reply came in less than 10 minutes, Elijah. Oh my God, I'm so sorry I doubted you. She sounded so convincing. I didn't know. One by one, the calls and texts started coming in. Josh, man, I feel like an idiot. She had a whole timeline, it sounded so real. Mira, you don't deserve this, I believe you. Now completely. Even my mom called her voice shaky, sweetheart. I'm sorry, I should have asked you directly. She got to us first. She framed everything so well. It wasn't about revenge, it was about truth. I wanted people to see what I'd been up against, how easily a lie can spread when it wears the right face. Isabella's version faded fast. Once the evidence was out, she started backpedaling. First, she claimed she'd been confused about our arrangement, like we'd somehow misunderstood each other, about something as massive as opening our marriage. When that didn't stick, she shifted again, saying she had only accused Sophia to test me too, see how I'd react. And when I didn't respond, when the silence dragged out, she cracked, admitting finally in writing that there had never been an open marriage agreement. No Chicago conversation, no mutual decision, just a convenient lie told to cover. Up her own betrayal, I handed that admission straight to my lawyer. He smiled again. The divorce was finalized. 4 months later, Isabella didn't contest the divorce. The evidence was too damning. Her voice on the recording, the timestamps, the screenshots. There was nothing left to twist or spin. She signed what she had to, packed up, and moved across the country. But I made sure that all her friends have a copy of her recorded confession. Mutual friends said she needed a fresh start, wanted to get away from the gossip. Gossip. That's what she called the truth. Now, I let her go. I had no interest in whatever new story she was going to weave on the other coast. The year that followed was about rebuilding quietly, privately. I got my own place, small, but mine clean walls, no echoes of slammed doors or fights that ended in tears and gasps of disbelief. Just peace. I started reconnecting with friends. A few had pulled away during the storm of it all, confused by Isabella's early convincing version of the story. But slowly they came back with drinks, with dinners, with quiet conversations that always began the same way. "Hey, I'm sorry I forgave them. They were lied to, just like I had been." Dating started again too, but carefully. No apps, no rush, connections. I met people through friends or at events, a few coffees here, a walk there. Nothing serious, just enough to remember what it was like to be seen by someone new without all the history dragging behind me. Still, the weirdest part sometimes, I question my own memories. That's what gaslighting does. It claws at your sense of truth until you're not sure what's real and what was manipulated. You find yourself wondering, maybe I did say something I forgot. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it was partly my fault. But when those moments creep in, I play that recording again. Isabella's voice. Raw hurt, accusatory. "I know you're sleeping with my husband." How long has it been going on? There it is. Her outrage, her betrayal, her certainty that we were exclusive. She can't rewrite that now, and I won't let her. If there's one lesson in all of this, it's this. Trust yourself. When someone's trying to rewrite your reality, hold on to the facts, cling to them. And sometimes the proof you need shows up from the most unexpected places. Sophia, for example, 18 months out now. And Sophia and I still talk. It never turned romantic. We both agreed that would just be too strange considering how we met. But we grab coffee every now and then, talk about work, weird clients, the occasional dating disaster. She was the one who encouraged me to post this story. Actually, you'd be surprised how many people don't realize they're being gaslit. She told me over cappuccinos one afternoon, "If your story helps even one person get clarity, it's worth it." She was right. As for Isabella, last I heard she's still living on the opposite coast. A mutual friend ran into her at some networking mixer. Apparently she's dating someone new, and as expected, she's told him a completely different version of our breakup, something about growing apart and wanting different things. I almost feel sorry for the guy, so I send him the details from an anonymous email ID. God bless me. Almost forgot to mention my family has been incredibly supportive through all of this, especially my sister Jen. She was one of the first people Isabella reached out to with her twisted version of events, and at the time, yeah, she believed her. That stung, but Jen came around fast once the recording and screenshot surfaced. Since then, she's made it her personal mission to look out for me. "You're not going through that again," she told me. Arms crossed, eyes narrowed like she was preparing to interrogate someone. She vets anyone I date now, like she's CIA. I just want to make sure they're not sociopaths. "Okay," she says every time with that mix of fierce loyalty and sisterly annoyance that only siblings can pull off. It's kind of embarrassing if I'm being honest, but also kind of touching. As for me, I've become more cautious in relationships, but not cynical. I don't go around expecting the worst. I just pay closer attention now to inconsistencies, to patterns, to how I feel around someone when no words are being said. I trust my instincts, and I communicate clearly from day one. No more passive-aggressive silences or brushing red flags under the rug and calling them beige. If something feels off, I talk about it. Right now I'm seeing someone new. We've been taking it slow. She knows my full story. Every messy, complicated chapter. I told her early on, not for pity, but for clarity. And the way she listened, really listened without judgment. It meant a lot. "I appreciate how direct you are," she said, after I finished. It's rare and honestly refreshing. The best part, she hasn't once made me feel like my past makes me damaged, just experienced human. Oh, and the recording. I deleted it 6 months ago. Not out of spite or triumph, just because I didn't need it anymore. Not as evidence, not as a reminder, not as validation. However, everyone I know has a copy of it. I know what happened. That's enough. Sometimes people ask if I wish I'd found out who Isabella really was before we got married. If I could go back, would I change it all? But here's the thing, I don't think she was always that person. I think she became someone who could lie so easily, so convincingly, one choice at a time, one excuse after another. A little gaslight here, a little denial there. It snowballed. That's what scares me the most, how someone you love, someone you think you know, can transform into someone unrecognizable. But weirdly, that's also what gives me hope, because if people can change for the worse, they can also change for the better. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.